Vice President Pence today making big news in Brussels, getting NATO to commit to its financial obligation and also reminding the world of America's commitment to Europe and underscoring that the need for a free and independent press.
Both the President and I strongly support a free and independent press, but you can anticipate that the President and all of us will continue to call out the media when they play fast and loose with the facts.
Of course, remember President Trump slammed the media during his weekend rally following a series of tweets shaming several media outlets. We're going to talk about it now. Amy Holmes is back. Lee Carter joins us, as well as Jillian Melcher. Lee, you monitor this kind of stuff. Yeah, a lot of people are saying, listen, what President Trump is saying is a reflection of how real, regular people, just in so-called flyover states particularly, have felt for a long time, that you've got this elitist media that's more or less looked down on them and forgotten their role.
You know, I think it's really interesting if you look at some of the polls. Fox News just did a poll about do you trust the media or Donald Trump, and it was really close. It said 42 trusted the media, 45% trusted Donald Trump. But when you start to break it down by political affiliation, what ends up happening, Republicans, almost 90% trust Trump more than they trust the media. When you look at independents, almost 3/4 of them trust the media more than they trust Donald Trump more than they trust the media. So there's definitely this feeling that you cannot trust the media, that they are really thankful that somebody's talking directly to them, and they like this idea that Trump is not willing to just take it as it is and that he's going to fight to get his word out there. There are a lot of people that are afraid of it, but at the same time, there's a huge swath of folks that are really, really supporting Donald Trump in that.
Well, of course, Senator McCain is not one of them. He came out pretty harshly overseas, and you know, some people took issue with that, Jillian, in the sense that the Donald Trump tweet said fake news. Not all media, but he said these particular outlets have an agenda that he thinks make them the enemy of the people.
And some of them absolutely do. I mean, if you look at the New Republic running a totally speculative piece this weekend about does Donald Trump have syphilis?
I wouldn't even call it speculative. I'd call it spurious.
It was horrifying, yeah. But I think a lot of journalists are not like that and have criticized him on very legitimate things. And that is the proper role of the media, to be telling the truth, to be getting the facts out. Are all journalists perfect? Absolutely not. But I think the assault on the media has gone too far. It's hyperbolic, and it's not transparent. That's one of the things we complained a lot about with the Obama administration. And that transparency really does serve a purpose.
What do you mean when you say it's not transparent?
So I think the Trump administration has not been particularly transparent so far, down to simple things like Trump releasing his tax returns. That's an important thing to know, whether you have a conflict of interest, and it's the media's job.
But should the media retaliate, though? Should there be a retaliatory nature with the media, Amy? In other words, say, you know, the media has its misgivings about the Trump administration on this or that or this. But, you know, a lot of people feel like they went to war with him as a candidate, and that lingers into his presidency.
Oh, they certainly have. And at Rasmussen Reports, we find that nearly a majority, even just last month, this is after the president's been elected, after he's been inaugurated, that nearly half of likely voters believe that the media is still biased against Donald Trump. And I would say, yes, we need to have an adversarial press. We need an investigative press. But we don't need a press that makes up stories like that President Trump removed the bust of MLK from the Oval Office. That story went halfway around the world before the truth could put its boots on.
Well, they understood how insidious that would be.
Absolutely. And I would also like to point out, for John McCain to be in Munich, Germany, trashing the President of the United States, when Der Spiegel, I don't know if you know the magazine, put a cover of Donald Trump decapitating the Statue of Liberty with a bloody machete. This is also a country that doesn't allow free press. It actually has restrictions on free speech. So I found his remarks there to be totally irresponsible.
You know, I think one thing that's going to be really interesting to see is how this plays out with the press. There's actually a Colorado newspaper right now where a politician accused them of fake news that's preparing to file a defamation suit over that. And I think that's going to have huge legal implications, because we are having accusations that sometimes good reporting or opinion reporting is fake news, and it's a difference.
But I think it's so hard now to tell what is opinion journalism and what is investigative reporting. You don't know. When you're going and you're looking at a headline in the New York Times, it says, you know, Donald Trump is a pathological liar. Like, that is a diagnosis. Can they really be making that? That is completely, and you're supposed to say this is a newspaper. This isn't in the op-ed section. This is in the news section. And what about the uses of all these?
What about the uses of all these anonymous sources?
Yeah,
and we know
that's not been great.
Ladies, we have to leave it there. It's a fantastic conversation, and I got a feeling we'll be talking about it again.
Yes, we will.
Thank you. Happy President's Day.
You too.